I get a really bizarre feeling that I'm probably gonna get in a lot, well, maybe a little bit of shit for this video from a select community. Oh dear. Hello once again, people of the internet, Falco Maton here, and you know, from time to time I like to do a little bit of a topical vlog, like something that might not necessarily be, relevant or, interesting to everybody, but something that I think is interesting and kind of just, would be an interesting thing to talk about. So yeah, that's one of these vlogs, no story vlog this time. And well, as you can see from the title of the video, there's no real secret to what this video is going to be about. Well, I'm just going to clarify something quickly. Even though it's a big M, because that's the way YouTube, that's the best way to title your videos on YouTube when you're spacing out your words. It's going to be about the machinima film genre, where you go into a video game and you make a movie, not the website machinima.com. So, for clarification, sweet teeny tiny M. Teeny tiny like me. And well, the last word probably doesn't give you much hope either. Dead. Even though it has a question mark. I'm going to talk about whether machinima is either dead or it's dying. Neither is a good scenario, but we'll talk about if it's either dead or dying. So it's no real secret that for a long time the machinima community, fans, and even machinima directors has slowly declined over the last couple of years. And anything that basically is machinima related now, you know what, best way to kind of scrap all that. Best way to kind of describe machinima, the film genre as a whole now, I think, it's more kind of like a secret organization. No one really knows who's involved in it, no one really knows who's running it, and no one really knows what's going on anymore. I kind of always think it's down to Halo 4. I was a sufferer of Halo 4's really shitty theater mode, and while the Forge wasn't perfect, it really did discourage a lot of people until it did some of the fixes to it to make maps compared to what we had in Halo Reach. It had some brilliant new stuff like amazing new weapons, great armor customization for, a diverse sort of machinima cast, if that makes any sense, and some actually great, preset maps already made by 343 Industries. But with stuff like, not being able to load your gun properly, and well, people not really enjoying the multiplayer that much, hence the decline in the amount of players you would see playing Halo 4 and not getting then the right amount of people for that large battle scene body acting session that you wanted to do. It's no surprise that a lot of people fell in love with not just Halo, but making machinima as a whole. And I was one of those people. So yeah, there's definitely been a decline in Halo machinima for sure. I'm not sure about other stuff like, apparently Doom. The new Doom you can make machinima in, and there's other games, like people made some Battlefront machinimas when that first came out. Despite the fact that some games have difficulties, if a game has a HUD that you can remove, like Titanfall for example, or you can work around, then you can make a machinima in pretty much any game. Most of them tend to be first-person shooters though. Even now, Halo 5 doesn't have that many dedicated, machinima series, big projects like we had in Halo Reach, or Halo 3 even. Despite the fact they've added in an amazing Forge, and I've seen some of the sets that people have made for like the little bits of, Halo 5 machinima I have seen, and even adding in machinima options and a pretty decent theater mode, it's the fact that, I can't do offline mode. Gotta get all my players online. Okay, so I'm kind of ranting a little bit about just basically how shitty Halo has gotten for machinima, which really isn't to it, so I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. So essentially, yeah, there is no machinima community anymore. There used to be big websites like Machinima Nation that I used to be a staff member on, and well, that doesn't really exist anymore now. Machinima Union, I've heard it got passed around a couple times, but and it has got a little bit of a small community, like really small. And I'm not passing out insults here, I'm not like saying you're insignificant or anything, but I'm saying compared to what we used to have, it's minute. And really not, again, trying to start anything or trigger anybody, but the machinima community, those websites like Machinima Nation, Machinima Union, and the other ones, all that sort of stuff, kind of tore itself apart. I was in the middle of that. That's why I kind of stepped away from machinima community as a whole. It's because, too many feuds, too many people overlapping and not cooperating with each other, or just not getting along, and the websites kind of tore each other apart, and machinima directors, machinima groups with, groups that enjoyed Machinima, watching it or making it, all divided up into their own little sections, and sadly, never really recovered. Now, something that made me, rethink about this topic recently, and we're going to go into the big M now, is Machinima.com. I think, well, not to fully blame, again, I'm not trying to blame anybody for this or, point fingers, but Machinima.com moved on as, the internet went on. They did what, most YouTube companies do. They moved into other channels. They branched out. They tried gameplay, and they tried entertainment, and they tried news, and they're still doing that to this day. Because, they wanted to stay relevant, and they wanted to stay popular online, and that's what you kind of need to do in this world to stay relevant. But the really kind of shitty thing that they did is they started off, with their big, Machinima project, their big directors, and like John Graham, and kind of pushed them aside. And even though, they became an organization, that kind of, this is kind of what happens when you become, a very public organization. You get all these restrictions, you get all these, new opportunities, but with the opportunities again comes restrictions. They started to mistreat them, started to push them to the back. Oh, you're not really relevant, you're old school, you're still making stuff for us, we appreciate all you've done, but you're really old school, so we're pushing you back. And it's really evidence that, the biggest platform where you could go to see Machinima, for years, the biggest YouTube channel, biggest platform where you could go to watch Machinima for years, and everybody wanted to be a part of, pushed its sort of, its guardians, away. It pushed, John Graham left. He's making his last series of RV Sheep now on his own channel through Patreon. He's completely disconnected from Machinima.com. And even evidence with the smaller stuff, like not necessarily a Machinima, group, but like the Game Over Studios who made the Halo 4 series. They moved from Machinima.com to, well, still for a little bit under the brand of Machinima.com. They moved to their own channel too. They moved all of their shows onto a personal channel. So maybe Machinima actually isn't dead, but maybe it's dying. It's certainly not thriving anyway. There is that small selective group. I know they still exist out there because I hear about them a fair bit because I still have those connections to that community. But I can't ever really see that community, getting back to its former glory, to where it used to be. Because sadly, like a lot of things on the internet, once you start to become irrelevant, that is what you are on the internet. You are irrelevant. So once Machinima started to become irrelevant because other things started to take its place, you can't come back from it. That is how the internet moves. The internet just moves forward. It never takes 2 steps back. It always moves 1 step forward. I'm actually going to read a really interesting... I kind of posted this question to a few people who I know who are still kind of making Machinima. So I posted the question, if someone had asked you, is Machinima dead, what would you say? Now I need to put these on because I can't read for shit and I'm old. Now, he is making a full-on big Machinima production that he's been doing for years in Halo Reach. He's gone back to the best Machinima engine in my opinion. And it's coming out very soon, and I probably will talk about it more when it comes out. It's really cool. It's actually really cool. It's actually kind of made me a little bit interested in certain Machinima again. And I posted the question, just hypothetically, not me directly asking him, if someone had asked you, is Machinima dead, what would be your response? And he said, I'd say the only reason it is considered dying is due to the fact that many people nowadays have simply lost interest in the medium, either due to the same dance story being replayed in nearly every Halo Machinima, or due to the fact that huge companies like Machinima no longer promote them, leaving potential new fans in the dust to find content on their own. And like I've talked about in this video, and like the points I've already made, that is the best way to describe, or best answer I can say to this question. What he has said there, it is the fact that the big companies that used to promote Machinima leave them in the dust now, and there's no real interest anymore. And while Halo Machinima isn't really, the main topic anymore, stuff like, what can you really do new in Halo Machinima that hasn't been done before? It's the same with post-apocalyptic series on the TV, like The Walking Dead or stuff like that. It's like, what can you do really new anymore now? A lot of it has been done already. If you do make a new series, chances are you're taking a billion elements from previous series and you're showing them and you're making something that is considered new but has way too many references to other stuff. Honestly, the only real hope I ever actually see in Machinima as far as story-wise is with, and there's not even that many anymore, that kind of fell off really quickly, and that was with the Grand Theft Auto 5, when Grand Theft Auto 5 finally had like a capable camera and free cam mode, there was some really creative stuff because you could personalize your reaction. It was like animation almost because you could personalize it. You know, Rooster Teeth did a really good, you know, couple of years of Straight Out of RT where they would take podcast clips and they would put, they would animate it in Grand Theft Auto over the podcast clip. That's a prime example of how creative you could be with that engine. And sadly, even that's kind of faded away a wee bit. But yeah, I definitely don't think Machinima is dead. It's probably not going to be dead for a very long time, but it's definitely dying. That is my personal opinion. It's definitely dying. But again, a lot of stuff I've said here, it's just been sort of flippant research and opinion stuff with my own. Again, a lot of the stuff is just stuff I've looked into online and just personal, opinions and personal stories coming from me and just word of mouth. So really, there's no real, definitive answer at the end of this video. And that's the point I'm kind of trying to make. I don't want to give a definitive answer in this video. What I kind of want to do is leave it open. Leave it open to you lot, people who, if you're watching this, made Machinima and maybe still are. What is your personal opinion on this? Do you think it is dead or dying? Again, I'm not trying to start something or trigger anybody, trigger anybody's fucking Machinima. But I'm just curious to see what other people, people like me who started in 2000, started all the way back in 2007 even, and are, maybe no longer making it or still making it. And the one thing I will try and say is, it's going to be very, if you are all talking in the comments, it's going to be very open, it's going to be very opinionated, it's all going to be maybe even biased. Try not to attack each other too much, try to be open, try and just, trade your personal opinions on it. I know this is YouTube and I know there probably will be a few nasties, but don't worry, I'll deal with those guys. And before I ramble on too much, I will leave the video here. I will see you guys next time. Remember what I said, if you want to talk about it, comment in the comment section below. It's always a good place to go to. And there's also links in the description to follow me on stuff if you want to get in contact with me more one-on-one personally. And I will see you guys next time. Stay awesome, YouTubers. Falco, Maton out. Bye.